Hello, I'm Cornell Wright, and welcome to this episode of Coffee with Cornell. Today is during our coffee break, we're going to talk about automation competition, one of the topics discussed in my book, 31 Coffee Breaks to a Better Organization. Automation continues, and it's a drumbeat that we can't escape. I recently had a chance to go to a bar in Las Vegas. Many bars in Las Vegas, it was a great time. But I was stopped by a particular bar in which there were people who were delivering drinks, but the drinks were actually being made by robots. Now, in the robotic world, this is not very extensive. There were a number of bottles hanging. The robots would identify the drink that was being ordered. There was a glass that was being presented. The appropriate glass was being presented. They'd pull it out. They'd mix it. And, of course, then it would go down a small conveyor and be picked up by a human that would then deliver it to the table. In the world of automation and AI, artificial intelligence, that's not very significant. But the significant point to me was that it was replacing a human bartender, and you can be sure you didn't get an extra pour. I remember a time in which ATMs, automatic teller machines, were new technology. Imagine the person who had to make the first business case for ATMs. It might go something like this. All right, here's what I want you to do. We're going to take a stack of cash, brand new money. We're going to put it in a machine. The machine is going to be in the middle of a parking lot somewhere. It's going to be at night. There's not going to be anybody around, no security. And your customers are going to come up to you with a credit card, put the credit card in, and pull out cash from your machine. What do you think about that, Mr. Vice President? Might have been a little tough. But now, as we have seen over the years, the capabilities and potential of ATMs have expanded dramatically. In fact, years ago, I was actually in an old bank in Cleveland, Ohio, in which it was a beautiful old bank building. And all the teller locations had been changed within the bank and been moved over to ATMs except for 2 or 3. I just stood there and marveled. It was amazing. The internet is another element of automation that's come into our lives. Remember there used to be internet security concerns? Of course, there still are, with cybersecurity as a constant contact and exposure to all of us. But at one point in time, think about those days not too long ago in which you were concerned about putting your primary social security number or those kind of things over the internet. I would submit that now our credit card numbers and social security numbers go over the internet with almost not a second thought. There was even a question regarding using the internet and its automation for buying clothes. Remember when the discussion I couldn't feel the clothes, wasn't quite sure about the sizing or those sort of things? Now people are buying clothes over the internet with regularity. And if you think about some of the cyber sale events, people are buying more clothes perhaps over some of those days than there are physically in stores. Food was another consideration about buying over the internet. We couldn't feel the firmness of a tomato. But now you can order food or be delivered by the internet. In fact, some food meal plans actually come to you on a weekly basis. How far we've gone in these areas in such a short period of time, it seems. So now you start looking at what's the continuation or the advancement of automation. In the 2018 Seoul Winter Olympics, they were featuring automation and robots made by Korean companies. One of the key areas, and one of the areas that I'm concerned about with the receptionists, is that of robots automation being used to replace the receptionist position in many of our organizations. I think that's very key. Receptionists play a key role in our organizations in regards to our customer service. But now, in some instances, they're being replaced or trying to be replaced by robots. The automation appears to be coming in everywhere, in medicine, in manufacturing, of course, even in farming. It appears to be in every organization or every area of endowment other than politicians. Isn't that curious? Automation and robotics are starting to continue to have impact in our lives. Positive for the most part. But I would submit to you that there's a real question that needs to be addressed, which I don't hear getting enough attention, and that is what role does humans have in the marketplace in the not-too-distant future? Almost every job that we're looking at is having some impact of which robotics and/or AI, artificial intelligence, is starting to have a bigger impact on what's happening and how efficiently things are being managed and performed by these automated or computer-based systems. I think we need to have a debate regarding what's the accuracy of where the humans start to fit in, where our roles are, and what's really important. I think it's important to have humans have work, but we also have to be able to justify because many times There was an article a number of years ago in which a GE plant that was making manufacturing air conditioning, that manufacturer was being brought back to the United States. That was good news. The bad news for jobs is there were no people in the plant. It was an all automated facility. Think about that for a moment. No people working in a plant producing products. We all saw the Jetsons years ago. I like George Jetson. And we also thought there was a great way to be able to live that kind of life. But if you notice, George Jetson really didn't do very much, even though he got paid. I'm not subscribing that as being the model we should move toward, but I also remember the story of John Henry, the steel driving man. Think about those two models and see which of those starts to become more significant to you in your life and what role you think automation is going to continue to play in our lives in the future. Now it's time to refocus our attention. I trust you or your organization will benefit from something discussed during this coffee break. Please make sure to like and comment. Better yet, click on subscribe and the bell icon in order to receive alerts of future episodes. Thank you for joining me in this episode of Coffee with Cornell. And as always, plan well and execute.